To determine the percentage values for each counts that we have, we would need to look at the different age groups each time. So for example, let's look at from ages 25 to 34, and let's look at one of the levels of education received. So let's say we look at from ages 25 to 34 for the level of education received as high school. We see that the count is 11,380, and we would need to take this number of counts and divide it by the total amount we have here, which is 35,829, and that would give us 0.3176. We would need to multiply that value by 100 to get the percentage value. So we would do this for each category of the levels of education for each group of ages.
Here are the two segmented bar charts that we created. The majority of the age group 25 to 34 had an educational level of high school. The second largest level was the bachelor's degree. Similarly, the age group 65 to 74 had the highest educational level of high school. However, their second largest level was less than high school. These segmented bar charts do not exceed 100%.
The research was performed on United States adults ages 25 to 35 and 65 to 64. The purpose of this research was to find the educational level of different age groups in the United States. The research was recorded on May 2010, and it was a survey across the United States. The research was conducted in order to compare the educational levels of Americans in different age groups, as to find out the cultural values and the precision of education has changed over time. The research was collected through a survey.
From the age group of 25 to 34-year-old Americans, 14.13% of individuals had an educational level less than high school. For the age group of 65 to 74-year-olds, this percentage was significantly higher at 26.39%. 31.76% of 25 to 34-year-olds had an educational level of high school. Similarly, 39.11% of 64 to 74-year-olds had a high school education level. 21.24% of individuals from the 25 to 34-year-old group had some college education, while only 14.40% of the 65 to 74-year-old group did. 25 to 34-year-old had a significantly higher bachelor's degrees education level compared to the 65 to 74-year-olds at 25.64% rather than 11.88%. Finally, 8.21% of the group of 25 to 34-year-olds had an educational level equivalent to an advanced degree. Similarly, 8.2% of the group of 65 to 74-year-olds had an advanced degree.
Because the percentages are all different, the data and variables are associated.
In conclusion, the two variables of this data sets are associated, which means that they are not the same. Although it is not necessarily correlated with changes in cultural values, the variables show that there is a difference in pursuance of education levels between the ages of 25 to 34-year-olds and 65 to 74-year-olds.